Alright, we're back for more rewrite fun, and there's so much to cover I hope it doesn't get confusing. I'm not going to waste anyone's time and jump right into the episode as a direct continuation from last episode. Almost instinctively, Neji tries to twist free from Kakashi, but the latter practically had a death grip on his wrist, and Neji can't get free. Anger like a flash of heat courses through Neji, and his other hand balls into a fist as he stares up at Kakashi. Kakashi tells him he can try if he wants, but in no world would that choice end well for him. Reining in his fury as much as he can, Neji relaxes and submits to being caught as Might Guy punches the ground beside Rock Lee, erupting it into chunks and freeing him. Naruto uses his flying Raijin to get away, but he's an inexperienced child and Asuma easily overtakes him. When he tries to claim that they were having friendly matches, Asuma asks why then did he use real weapons. Stammering as he seeks an answer, Naruto eventually just puts his hands up in defeat as Asuma leads him to the Hokage's office. The Genin who didn't directly take part are sent home, leaving Sasuke and Kiba unattended. Sasuke isn't interested in denying anything or putting up a fight as he approaches Kakashi and Neji and just waits for Kakashi's instructions. His Uchiha guardians would only be excited by who else in the village he's beat up. Since Kurenai didn't have any Genin who were involved in the debacle, she volunteers to escort Kiba home to make sure he too has someone to give him a talking to. She and Kiba leave, with Kiba's loud complaining still overheard as they wander down the street, and Might Guy stands with crossed arms over Rock Lee. He asks Rock Lee why he even feels the need to prove that he's better than anyone else. If Lee just follows the training regime that Might Guy had carefully planned out, then it would take no time at all for him to become a splendid ninja. Not to mention, fighting friends is shallow, and only degrades his character. He clarifies that a sparring match is one thing, but based on the fireballs that spilled over into the street, this wasn't harmless sparring. If he really wanted to duel another Genin, he could have easily gotten a Jonin to sanction the duel so that it didn't get out of hand. Pausing for a while in deep thought, Guy looks down at Lee and tells him he is to mountain climb the village cliffs one-handed as a punishment. Pulling out his wire kit, Rock Lee begins tying up his hand when Guy stops him and tells him to tie his other hand, his dominant hand. Might Guy ponders silently about Rock Lee's willingness to do the punishment. His parents died when he was just a baby, to the Fox's attack. Instead of going to a home alone, part of Guy knew that Rock Lee did this intense training as distraction to ward off that loneliness. As Kiba and Kurenai get closer to his house, Kiba starts coming up with excuses as to why tonight's just not a good night to get his mother angry. Kurenai is amused by his excuses, but keeps up appearances because of the situation. She tells him that he's welcome to run away from the danger, but that would probably only get him in deeper trouble. He complains even that a puppy like Akamaru should not be subjected to what may come from his mother once she learns what he did. Kurenai tells him that if he wanted to protect his companion so badly, he wouldn't have gotten into the fight in the first place. Messing up his hair as if searching for more ideas, Kiba howls in disappointment that he can't find excuses fast enough before his house comes into view. Once fully calmed down, Neji is escorted by Kakashi back to the Hyuga mansion, with Sasuke in tow. Kakashi asks them where Shikamaru is, and both seem to realize that they're down one as they look around. Neji shrugs uncertainly, and Sasuke says that he disappeared after smoking Naruto in record time. He tells them both that they are all of them a team. They shouldn't so easily lose track of their partners. As they come to the mansion and ascend the steps, Sasuke stays behind on the street. When Kakashi tells him to follow, Sasuke shifts uneasily and says maybe it's time for him to just head on home. Kakashi flatly tells him no and to come on in, but it clearly takes an obscene level of will for Sasuke to cross over that invisible line into what his clan considers enemy territory. Neji says nothing about Sasuke entering the Hyuga house, and soon the three of them are greeted by Hisashi Hyuga, who seems prepared for disappointment already. Before Kakashi starts speaking, Hisashi asks him why he brought an Uchiha into his home, his words laced with contempt. Hesitating, Kakashi tells him that both boys are guilty of the same crime, so they will share in their punishments. Sasuke mutters that if the head of the house doesn't want him there, maybe he should just leave. Kakashi asks why it matters. They're all shinobi of Konoha. He goes on to wonder aloud if that attitude that the head of the house has is the reason why Neji has been so difficult all this time. Neji sees the impatience and anger on his father's face for just a moment before he glides past the conversation and matches eye contact with his son. Kakashi explains that the two of them got into a scrap with their fellow academy graduates over a petty squabble. Rolling his eyes, Hisashi verbally tears Neji a new one for nearly daily bringing back news of his malfeasance. Neji's meant to be the pride of the Hyuga, but all he's brought to the house since earning his headband is shame. Neji winces at the dressing down, likely more so considering Sasuke's standing right there, just a few feet away. At the end of his arraigning, Hisashi tells Neji the myriad of tasks he's meant to complete around the property before sundown. Before he leaves with head hanging low, Kakashi asks Hisashi that he's so graceful that he would welcome Sasuke into his home to share the punishment chores. Grimacing, Hisashi looks at Sasuke and tells him directly that this is no laughing matter. The Hyuga and the Uchiha are both ancient households of Konoha, and the prodigies of both families have brought home inexorable shame and humiliation. He tells Sasuke that though his brethren have forgotten the faith and loyalty that their ancestors infused into the village, Sasuke shouldn't also fall into such a remorseless cycle. With as much authority as he just commanded his own son, Hisashi commands Sasuke to share in Neji's punishment. Taken aback, Sasuke nods silently and leaves the room with Neji. Kakashi warns Hisashi that those two boys still aren't on great terms, but with the fear of his father bearing down on him, Neji would certainly behave within these walls. Hisashi tells Kakashi that the next time he brings an Uchiha into his home unannounced and uninvited, the Hokage would hear of it. This is not dressed as a warning, but a threat. Waiting impatiently in the halls outside the Hokage's office, Naruto waits alone for his father to come to the door. When they first arrived, the fourth was in a meeting, so Asuma told him to wait for it to finish, and that, believe you me, he would know if Naruto ditched the responsibility later. Eventually falling into one of many chairs lining the walls, Naruto wonders if it would be disrespectful for him to take a nap. Just as he lays his head back, he hears footsteps down the hall and props himself up again. Tsunade spots him as she rounds the corner and grins at him. Without sharing any words, she smoothly walks up to him and ruffles his hair playfully before continuing on down the hall. Following close behind her is Shikamaru, who completely disregards Naruto's presence, lost in his own thoughts. Naruto hears Tsunade's office open and shut, and silence falls again. Not 5 minutes pass before footsteps are heard again. This time it's Sakura who approaches? She stops in front of Naruto and asks him if he's seen Lady Tsunade. He looks at her quietly, realizing that this is one of the first times she hasn't flat out insulted him, the second she opened her mouth. He wonders what's changed. Her brow furrows in annoyance, and she essentially calls him a nincompoop for being so unhelpful. As if her insult woke him from his stupor, Naruto suddenly points towards her office and tells Sakura that she just missed her. Before she leaves, Sakura tells him that he embarrassed himself pretty hard against Shikamaru. He tells her that he's never faced against him before, but if they had that match again, he'd win for sure. She shrugs indifferently and suggests that next time he should take a breath and assume his foe is better than him. He tries to defend himself that Shikamaru definitely isn't better than him, but in a more drawn-out fight, he'd win every time. Sakura tells him that he doesn't get it. He needs to adopt the mindset, because at the very least, it would make him cautious and more deliberate with his actions. Quieter, Sakura also compliments him that he didn't release the Nine Tails. She didn't think he could keep the beast locked away when he fought. Without waiting for a response, Sakura leaves, skipping down the hall towards Tsunade's office. Inside the Sannin's office, Shikamaru asks her if he can be transferred to a different team. Tsunade glances at him for a moment before returning to her stacks of papers. She tells him that it's only been 2 weeks since everyone's been assigned their teams. She says if he's so flippant already, then perhaps he needs to figure out what he really wants. She adds that he has no siblings, so he doesn't know what it's like to have to be around people that are annoying. He hasn't built up the proverbial patience for such a thing. She assures him that before long, Neji and Sasuke will surely start getting along. as it's practically unheard of for ninja to change squads. But until they start getting along, they need an unflinching anchor like Shikamaru to keep some groundedness to the group. It's easy to rebel against the teacher Kakashi, but if one of their own is dutiful and professional, it'll help to keep them in line as well. Before Shikamaru can go on, the door swings open again and Sakura enters the room. Tsunade wonders why all the Genin are excited today, and wonders where Iruka is to handle these things. Sakura shakes her head and tells Tsunade that she's come specific to her with a request. Shikamaru excuses himself, realizing that Sakura is not likely to leave now, and he doesn't want to continue his concern in a public conversation. That said, Tsunade did drive the point home. He was really only wanting to protest for the sake of protesting. Though Tsunade tries to emphasize that she's a busy woman, Sakura insists that she won't be long. She asks if Tsunade has any books that could further her genjutsu training. There are two things Tsunade is most known for in the village: her skill in medical ninjutsu and her extensive library. Sakura is not asking for any tomes of forbidden knowledge. She's not even sure if Tsunade would have anything on genjutsu, as Sakura's never personally stepped into the library herself. Tsunade asks Sakura why she wants such a tome, and Sakura says because she wants to know more about the foundations of genjutsu before she goes on to learn anything complex. Tsunade shakes her head. That's not what she means. It's only been 2 weeks since Sakura became a genin. How could she already be so bored with the basic genjutsu she's learned? Sakura says that in the span of 2 weeks, she's impressed her sensei with a branch of jutsu she'd always just taken for granted. She would rather specialize in it if all it took was 2 weeks of training to impress Jonin. She wonders if she truly cares about it, how far it is she can go with it. Tsunade tells Sakura that Kurenai is currently one of the most gifted genjutsu types in the village, but Sakura complains that the training is too slow. Kurenai insists on the basic genjutsu that just takes a few hand seals, but Sakura knows that genjutsu is an assault on the senses, not just a clever use of chakra. If she has a book to guide her, she can learn at her own pace and ask Kurenai questions when she's stumped, and she'll definitely never recklessly attempt anything overly complex. After some humming and hawing, Tsunade eventually gives her the book. In fact, just 20 minutes earlier after their mission debriefings, Kurenai had asked Tsunade specifically for that book, and for the same reason. However, Tsunade had rejected her request on the grounds that no genin would even understand what was in that book. Maybe she has a soft spot for the young Kunoichi, but after seeing Sakura's resolve, Tsunade decides to trust in her passion to learn. Back to Naruto. He gets up after hearing muffled but raised voices coming from his dad's office. He approaches the door and clearly hears Minato demanding to see Orochimaru, before silence falls and the door snaps open. Minato's face turns from annoyance to a soft grin as he realizes who it was that he caught eavesdropping. He pats Naruto on the shoulder, asking him to promise to keep whatever he overheard to himself, before inviting him into the office. Homura and Koharu, the two elder advisors for the late third Hokage, are the only ones in the room. As they also see Naruto, they get up without a word and leave the room. Naruto tries to apologize for interrupting, but Minato laughs it off, telling Naruto that he was itching for a break anyway. It's not common for Naruto to come see him at work though, so Minato inquires as to why. Shyly, Naruto admits that he got into a fight with Shikamaru Nara and that Asuma sent him here after they were caught. When Minato asks why they were fighting in the first place, given Shikamaru's agreeable attitude, Naruto explains that the idea of Team 7 being the elites just got to him. Minato tells Naruto that he's got the blood of both the Uzumaki and Namikaze clans, not to mention of course that he's a Jinchuriki. The sheer potential that Naruto has is so great that he already eclipses several of his peers in raw power. If Naruto can keep his wits about him, Minato assures him that in no time flat, he'll be surpassing those who might have a superiority complex now. He asks Naruto if it would feel better winning a fight in a field, or winning a fight in front of a vast audience. When Naruto asks what he's getting at, Minato simply tells him that patience never disappoints. Soon, Jiraiya will be returning to the village, and Naruto will be getting an upgrade to his seal that should allow him to control his chakra better. Minato has been thinking about how the seal could be reworked to remedy Naruto's struggles with calling on chakra without also tapping into the fox's chakra. He believes the further removed Naruto is from the fox, the less danger he'll accidentally find himself in. The time will come for Naruto to harness the fox, but Minato fears that his son is just not ready for it yet. Naruto tells his dad that he just doesn't feel like he has a lot going for him, as he constantly just relies on the flying Raijin, and he's not even very good at that. Minato smirks and wheels on his son, asking if Naruto wants to learn a fancy new trick then. Naruto's eyes shine as he accepts the offer. The window to Minato's right slides open as an Anbu pops his head inside. Minato turns to him and asks what the message is, but the Anbu hesitates because of Naruto. Minato commands him to speak with an impatience he never seems to show Naruto, and the Anbu tells him there's a dispute at the borders of fire and stone. Turning back to Naruto, he tells him to find Asuma. Turns out they're not getting a day off yet. And that about does it for today's episode. I want to really breathe life into the day-to-day of the ninja, as well as how certain people treat others, in this case the Hyuga and Uchiha, and perhaps Minato's blatant favoritism for his son. The great houses are really not happy campers with each other, and as this rewrite progresses, we'll see more and more of that. But next episode, we'll be taking a closer look at that border dispute, so something to look forward to. As always with this channel, the sky's the limit.